Have you ever wondered what echoes remain in someone's heart when you're no longer there? Not the noise of your presence, but the silence of your absence. That silence speaks louder than any words. The first day after someone disappears is unlike any other day you've lived before. It begins with confusion, the kind of confusion that doesn't come from a lack of clarity, but from too much of it. Everything is too clear, too sharp, too real. You wake up and the room feels different, even though nothing has moved. The bed, the chair, the clock on the wall, they're all in the same place, but they don't feel the same anymore. What feels missing is the invisible thread that once tied those things together with meaning. You notice the absence the way you notice a cut on your skin. It stings every time you move. The silence isn't peaceful. It's aggressive, demanding your attention in every corner of the room. The routines you once lived by now feel like echoes of someone else's life. The toothbrush on the sink looks back at you like it doesn't belong to you anymore. Breakfast feels pointless because the taste is wrapped in memories of conversations that no longer happen. Even the air carries a strange weight, heavy, unmoving. The world looks the same on the outside, but inside, everything has shifted. That first day feels like a bad dream that insists on being real. You keep expecting a call, a text, or the sound of a familiar voice. But the phone stays still, the screen stays black, and the voice never comes. That's when reality begins to sink in. The person who filled so much of your space is gone. What makes the first day unbearable is the smallness of it. Big tragedies announce themselves with noise, with chaos, with a visible storm. But when someone disappears from your life, it's the small things that cut the deepest. The empty chair at the table, the unused pillow on the bed, the silence at the exact time they used to call. The absence hides in the corners of the day, ambushing you when you least expect it. It's not the grand gestures you miss, it's the little ones that you never thought twice about. That's the cruelty of the first day. It makes you realize how much of your life was built on moments you thought were ordinary, but were actually extraordinary because they belonged to them. On that first day, your mind doesn't know whether to run forward or backward. Part of you wants to rewind, to hold on, to fight against the current that pulled them away. Another part wants to race ahead, to move past the ache, to pretend it doesn't exist. But neither path works. Rewinding only sharpens the ache, and rushing ahead only leaves you breathless. So you end up stuck in a loop, watching memories replay like a film you didn't ask to see, while reality presses against you with its cold, steady hand. It's a battle between heart and mind. The heart clings, the mind resists, and in the middle you feel torn apart. The silence of that first day is not empty, it is full, full of unanswered questions, full of unsaid words, full of emotions too heavy for language. You hear it when you sit down, when you walk, even when you try to distract yourself. It lingers in the background like a song on repeat, one you never chose to play. You wonder if they're thinking about you. You wonder if they even notice the space they left behind. You wonder if they're as lost without you as you are without them. These questions circle around you, never landing, never leaving, just spinning endlessly until you can't tell if you're breathing or just surviving. And yet, hidden beneath the shock of that first day is something you don't recognize yet, a seed. It doesn't feel like growth, it doesn't feel like hope, but it's there. In the emptiness, you begin to realize just how deeply you loved, just how much space they filled, just how human you are to ache this way. The pain is proof of connection, the silence is proof of presence that once existed. The first day does not offer comfort, it doesn't offer answers, but it does offer a mirror, and when you look into it, You see not just what you lost, but how much of yourself was tied to what you had. The second day arrives without asking your permission. It doesn't feel any softer than the first. Instead, it feels sharper, like the world has decided that you should no longer be numb but fully awake. You open your eyes and for a split second you forget. The sunlight streams in like it always does, the birds sing like they always do, and for that single, fragile moment, you almost believe everything is normal. But then the truth creeps in slow, heavy, merciless. They're still gone, and this time it's not shock that fills you. It's the ache of searching for what isn't there. On the second day, you become a detective of memories. You start looking for traces of them everywhere. The text messages that you never deleted suddenly become sacred. You scroll through them as if each word carries the power to bring them back. A simple good morning text feels like poetry now, something you wish you had treasured more when it was just another routine. You find yourself replaying old voicemails, even the ones that seemed so ordinary before. Their voice, once a background comfort, now becomes the sound you crave like air itself. Each message, each photo, each digital footprint becomes a lifeline you're terrified to let go of. The second day isn't about facing reality, it's about resisting it. That's why you search. You look through drawers, through closets, through old notebooks and forgotten corners of your home. A receipt from a restaurant, a sweater that still carries their scent, a note scribbled on paper, these become treasures. They're no longer objects, they're fragments of existence. You begin to realize that absence has a strange way of making the smallest details glow with importance. The handwriting you never paid attention to suddenly feels like a relic. A smile in a faded photo becomes a story you could tell for hours. The search is not for things, it is for proof. Proof that they were real, that you didn't dream them, that your connection wasn't an illusion. But the search is never enough, because every discovery, no matter how precious, also cuts deeper. That shirt you find in the back of the closet, it still smells like them. And the moment you press it to your face, you're hit with the cruel truth that smell is fading, and one day it will be gone too. That photo on your phone, the one you stare at until your eyes blur, doesn't blink back. It doesn't move, doesn't speak, doesn't return the love you pour into it. Each trace is both a comfort and a wound. Comfort because it reminds you they were real. A wound because it reminds you they are no longer here. On the second day, you start to understand something you didn't on the first. Memory is both your savior and your enemy. It saves you from the emptiness because it gives you something to hold on to. But it also traps you, chaining you to moments you can't relive, conversations you can't continue, laughter you can't hear again. You find yourself bargaining with the past. If only I had said this. If only I had done that, maybe things would be different. These if-onlys are the currency of the second day. You spend them recklessly, even though you know they buy you nothing but more pain. And yet, beneath the ache, the search reveals something powerful, the depth of your capacity to love. Because why would you search so hard if it didn't matter? Why would you hold on to fragments if the whole had not once been everything to you? The second day shows you the truth that love is not erased by absence. If anything, absence makes it louder. The search for traces is not just about finding them, it's about discovering yourself in the process. You realize how much space someone can hold in your soul, how much of your life can be shaped by their presence, and how even in their absence, they continue to shape you still. The third day doesn't arrive quietly. It doesn't sneak in like the first or second. It crashes down with a heaviness you didn't expect. By now, the shock of silence has settled, the frantic search for traces has slowed, and what replaces them is something far more dangerous: regret. On the third day, your heart and mind replay every detail of the past, turning ordinary moments into trial evidence, and you are both the defendant and the judge. The question rings in your head louder than anything else: what could I have done differently? It starts with small things. You remember the last conversation, the tone of your voice, the words you chose or the words you didn't. Did you say too much? Did you not say enough? You recall an argument that feels irrelevant now, and yet it replays like it was the final act, the last scene before the curtain fell. Suddenly, you wish you had been softer, kinder, more patient. You wish you had held them a little longer, spoken a little gentler, listened a little deeper. Regret doesn't deal in logic. It deals in weight. Every misstep, every flaw, every human mistake feels magnified, as if those were the reasons for the disappearance. Whether that's true or not doesn't matter on the third day. Your mind convinces you it must be. The worst part about regret is how creative it becomes. It takes your memories and rewrites them. That time you laughed together, regret whispers, maybe you didn't laugh enough. That time you showed up for them, regret says, maybe you should have done more. The time you were tired and pulled away, regret insists, that's the reason they left. You begin to fight with shadows of your own making. Shadows of conversations, shadows of decisions, shadows of all the versions of yourself you wish you could have been. The third day is not just heavy, it's haunting. And the ghosts you wrestle with are not theirs, they're yours. But regret is also seductive. As much as it hurts, there's something about it that feels almost comforting. Because regret convinces you that maybe, just maybe, you could have controlled the outcome. That their leaving wasn't random, that their absence wasn't fate. That it was something you could have fixed if only you had tried harder. It's easier to blame yourself than to admit you had no control. Because control gives you a sense of power, even if it's false. To accept that nothing could have been done is to accept helplessness, and on the third day, helplessness feels unbearable. So you choose regret, because regret at least gives you something to hold. And yet, regret is not all darkness. Hidden inside its weight is a lesson, one you cannot see clearly yet, but one that begins to shape you. Regret makes you notice the power of small actions. It reminds you how a single word can echo for years, how a single choice can shift the course of a relationship. It teaches you the value of presence, the necessity of kindness, the urgency of love expressed in the moment rather than delayed for later. The sting of regret may tear you apart, but it also reveals to you what matters most. You may not realize it yet, but this painful awareness is the soil in which wisdom grows. By the end of the third day, you are tired in a way that sleep cannot fix. Regret has carried you through every memory, every conversation, every what if. It has exhausted your soul, but as much as it drains you, it also leaves something behind. A voice, quiet but insistent, begins to whisper, you cannot change the past, but you can honor it. You cannot erase your mistakes, but you can learn from them. You cannot bring them back, but you can carry forward the lessons they left behind. The third day may bury you under the weight of regret, but even in that darkness, a light begins to flicker, the light of becoming someone wiser, stronger, more aware than you were before. The fourth day is different. By now, the silence has done its work, the searching has slowed, and the regret has wrung you dry. But instead of release, what rises up inside is conflict. The fourth day is not about memories or questions, it's about war. A war that takes place entirely within yourself. One part of you wants to fight for what is gone, to chase it, to reclaim it, to refuse surrender. The other part whispers that maybe it's time to let go, to accept, to surrender to the truth you've been avoiding. This is the battle within a battle that no one else sees, but one that consumes every breath you take. On the fourth day, your heart speaks first. It is stubborn, reckless, unrelenting. It tells you that love doesn't quit. That loyalty demands you fight. That you owe it to yourself and to them to keep pushing, to hold on with everything you have left. Your heart is fiery, it burns with hope even when reason says there is none. It pushes you to text them, to call, to reach out, even when you know there will be no answer. It makes you rehearse words you may never say, conversations that may never happen. The heart is a fighter, and on the fourth day, it refuses to wave the white flag. But then your mind steps in, cold, logical, unyielding. It tells you that love cannot exist in absence, that chasing ghosts will only break you further, that letting go is not betrayal, it is survival. Your mind shows you the truth you don't want to see, that the world has not stopped turning, that life will not pause for your pain. It tries to convince you that healing comes from acceptance, not resistance. Your mind doesn't fight with passion, it fights with reason, and sometimes reason cuts deeper than passion ever could. This is what makes the fourth day so brutal. You are divided against yourself. Every decision feels like betrayal. If you listen to your heart, you betray your future. If you listen to your mind, you betray your past. You walk through the day torn between two selves, each pulling you in opposite directions. You feel exhausted not from what you're doing, but from what you're thinking. The battle doesn't let you rest. It doesn't let you breathe. It forces you to sit in the tension between holding on and letting go, between love and survival, between memory and reality. And yet, as painful as it is, the battle itself has meaning. Because the fourth day teaches you something profound. You are not weak because you're conflicted. You are human. To wrestle with yourself is to prove that you are alive, that you are trying, that you care deeply enough to fight. Strength is not found in pretending you feel nothing. Strength is found in acknowledging that you feel everything and still choosing to keep moving forward. The battle within is not the end of you. It is the forging of you. The pressure, the heat, the tearing apart, these are the fires that shape steel. By the end of the fourth day, you may not have answers. The heart may still ache, the mind may still argue, and the war may rage on. But you begin to understand something vital. Battles don't always end with victory. Sometimes they end with endurance. Sometimes the greatest triumph is not in choosing the perfect path, but in simply surviving the war itself. The fourth day is not about winning. It's about learning to stand even while being pulled apart. And though you cannot see it yet, this endurance is becoming the foundation of something stronger, something that will carry you into the days ahead. The fifth day feels different. It doesn't hit you with the sharpness of silence like the first day. It doesn't drive you into frantic searching like the second. And it doesn't bury you under the heavy chains of regret like the third. Nor does it rage inside you like the battlefield of the fourth. The fifth day is quieter, but it's not the comforting kind of quiet. It's the kind of quiet that feels like a mirror, forcing you to see what you've been avoiding. On the fifth day, you realize something you didn't want to admit. The world hasn't stopped moving just because you have. This realization hurts. It's almost insulting. You step outside and you see people walking, laughing, working, living. The sun still rises. The traffic still clogs the streets. The children still play in the park. Strangers smile at each other. Stores open their doors. The world continues as if nothing has changed. And yet, for you, everything has changed. This realization feels unfair, almost cruel. How can life carry on when you feel like you've been broken in two? How can everyone else be fine when you are anything but fine? The fifth day opens your eyes to the brutal truth. Life does not wait for anyone. And yet, buried in that truth is a strange kind of clarity. The world's indifference, as painful as it is, begins to show you something. If the world doesn't stop, neither can you. The realization is not that your pain is meaningless, but that your pain cannot pause time. It cannot freeze the clocks. It cannot halt the spinning of the earth. And so you are left with a choice: to remain stuck in yesterday, or to start walking forward, even if it's with trembling steps. On the fifth day, you begin to see that healing is not about erasing the wound, it's about learning to live with it while still moving ahead. This is the moment when you notice small changes in yourself. You wake up, and though the ache is still there, you also notice hunger. You eat not because you feel like it, but because you need to. You go to work, not because you're healed, but because responsibilities call you. And while doing these small, ordinary things, you realize something powerful. Functioning is a kind of strength. Survival is a kind of courage. You don't need to feel whole to keep moving. You just need to take the next step, and then the one after that. The fifth day teaches you that progress is not loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, barely visible, but real nonetheless. The realization deepens as you notice something else. Though the world moves on, it doesn't move on without you. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still part of this vast, relentless rhythm of life. And maybe, just maybe, there's a reason for that. The fifth day teaches you to look beyond your pain, even if only for a second. To notice the child's laughter in the park, to feel the warmth of sunlight on your face, to hear the hum of life all around you. The world's movement, which once felt cruel, begins to feel like an invitation to step back into it, slowly, cautiously, but step back nonetheless. By the end of the fifth day, you haven't healed, you haven't forgotten, and you haven't stopped hurting. But you have realized something essential. Life will go on with or without you, and though it stings, that truth also gives you strength. Because if life goes on, you can go on too. If the world still spins, you can still rise. If time refuses to stop, then maybe time will also be the thing that carries you towards something new. The fifth day is not about closure, it's about awakening. An awakening to the reality that you cannot change what happened, but you can choose how you walk through what remains. The sixth day feels like standing at the edge of something new. It doesn't mean the pain is gone, far from it. The ache still lingers, the memories still sting, and the silence still weighs heavy. But something has shifted inside you. It's subtle, almost fragile, but it's there, the beginning of transformation. On the sixth day, you begin to realize that your story does not end with someone else's absence. Their disappearance may have closed one chapter, but it has not closed the book. And as you sit with that truth, a new kind of strength starts to take root within you. Transformation doesn't announce itself with fireworks or sudden joy. It arrives quietly through small choices. You wake up and decide to take a walk, not to escape the pain, but to feel the air fill your lungs again. You decide to clean your space, not because you're ready to erase their traces, but because you want to make room for yourself. You speak to someone about how you feel, and in doing so, you learn that vulnerability doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. These small actions don't heal you overnight, but they create movement, and movement is the soil where transformation grows. The sixth day also teaches you that strength isn't about forgetting. It's about carrying memories without letting them crush you. You start to understand that love doesn't disappear just because a person does. What they gave you, the lessons, the laughter, even the pain, stays etched into you. It shapes how you see the world, how you treat others, how you rise each morning. Their absence may have carved out a wound, but that wound also carved out space for growth. The sixth day reminds you, scars are not signs of weakness. Scars are proof that you survived, and with that survival comes perspective. You begin to see yourself differently. The person who felt broken on day 1 now sees they are still standing on day 6. The one who drowned in regret now realizes they have learned lessons they will never forget. The one who wrestled with the battle within now knows they are stronger for having fought it. Transformation is not about erasing the journey, it's about embracing it. Every tear, every sleepless night, every question without an answer has shaped you into someone you weren't before, someone wiser, tougher, and more alive. As the days stretch beyond the sixth, you discover something even more powerful: purpose. Pain without purpose can destroy you, but pain with purpose can rebuild you. You begin to ask, what can I do with this? How can I use this hurt to grow, to love better, to live fuller? Maybe you pour yourself into your work. Maybe you help someone else who feels the same ache. Maybe you chase a dream you've been afraid to chase, because now you understand just how precious time is. Whatever the path, the sixth day and beyond awaken you to the truth that loss can break you open, but being broken open also allows light to enter. And perhaps the most important transformation is this: you realize you are enough on your own. The silence that once haunted you now teaches you the value of your own company. The absence that once crushed you now reveals the strength of your own presence. The missing pieces of someone else don't mean you are incomplete, they mean you have space to grow into someone fuller than before. The sixth day and beyond remind you that you are not defined by who left, but by who you choose to become. And in that choice lies the power not only to survive, but to rise. So when you look back at the silence of the first day, the searching of the second, the regret of the third, the war of the fourth, the awakening of the fifth, and the transformation of the sixth, you begin to see the truth. Every day after their disappearance wasn't just about them. It was about you. About the way absence revealed your depth. About the way pain uncovered your strength. About the way loss carved the path for your growth. Disappearance doesn't erase you. It refines you. It doesn't end your story. It reshapes it. And though it may have broken your heart, it also built your resilience. You are not defined by who left, but by how you chose to rise after they were gone. Because in the end, it's not about the days that break you. It's about the days that rebuild you. And when you stand tall after everything you've endured, you realize the greatest transformation wasn't in losing them, it was in finding yourself.